Hi everybody, I'm Angela Cleary. I'm a feminine empowerment coach and I specialise in healing after narcissistic abuse. So today I want to talk about karmic relationships. Karmic relationships are relationships that we attract into our lives for the purpose of healing our karma from past lives. We actually organised before we reincarnated into this body to have these karmic relationships happen for the purpose of our soul's growth. Now, a karmic relationship can usually start off quite passionate and quite intense. You feel like you have a deep bond with this person and you feel connected to them. You may even feel that this person could be your one. But it very quickly goes from very passionate to very volatile, to very toxic, to very abusive, manipulative, controlling, codependent. You can form a trauma bond with this person, which can seem like a love addiction. These relationships are brought to teach us our own toxic patterns, but to teach us what we don't want in love, to teach us how to heal what we've only known of love, our toxic patterns around love. They are very beneficial for our soul's growth, but they're very, very difficult to get through as well. Because they're so back and forth, they're so push and pull. There's very high highs. So one day you might think, wow, this is the best relationship ever. But the lows get very low. They quickly turn from a very high vibe, passionate relationship into a very toxic, abusive relationship, where the fighting and the arguments tend to become the norm, and they tend to become more intense. And it tends to be the same arguments over and over again, like you're going around in circles. These relationships they're here to teach us about love, about what we don't want in love. They're here to teach us lessons. They're here to teach us how to heal our traumas and how to heal our past. But they're also to teach us how to break free from those toxic patterns. We have to learn, because of these relationships, how to, I suppose, find ourselves again. Because through these relationships, we tend to lose all sense of self. We become so codependent or addicted to that person that we become isolated from friends and family. They try to keep us in this bubble. They're similar to narcissistic relationships. They try to keep us in this bubble so they can control us. We lose all ambition in ourselves. We feel very stuck and stagnant, like we can't grow. That's the thing with karmic relationships. They keep you stuck. Whereas with a soulmate relationship or a twin flame relationship, they help you heal and grow into a better version of yourself. But karmic relationships are toxic. They really are toxic they're there to teach you lessons, and they are temporary. These can be now, it doesn't have to be romantic. It can be with friends, co-workers, or family members. And they will only last the duration of the healing that you need to learn. So they could last for months, weeks, months, or even years, depending on how much healing and soul growth you need to do. And like for my toxic relationship patterns or my karmic relationships, I had three main ones. Like my first one was a narcissistic relationship that lasted almost 8 years. My second one was a very toxic relationship that lasted 1.5 years. And my next one lasted 2 months. You see the pattern? I had almost 8 years, down to 1.5 years, down to 2 months. This was obviously how much growth or lessons I needed to learn in each relationship. And with these relationships as well, we tend to see red flags from day one, but we don't listen to them because of our need to be loved, because of the need to have those lessons learned. And we say after these relationships, we tend to punish ourselves for not seeing the red flags. We tend to get angry with ourselves for putting up with that behavior for so long. But the thing is, we actually pre-organized this ourselves. Our souls organized for this to happen in this life so we could learn and grow. Because in past lives, we may have actually been that toxic partner. We may have had toxic traits. So we need to learn and heal and become better because of that in this life, so that we can pursue a more healthy, loving twin flame or soulmate relationship. And that's the thing, as I said, it will last however long you need to learn that lesson. So, as I said, mine went from 8 to 1.5 to 2 months. And in those 2 months, I'll describe that last narcissist or that last karmic relationship. Like, at the time, I'd already learned about twin flames. I already realized I was a twin flame. And I after the 2 toxic relationships I'd been in, I gave myself time to heal. So I thought I was ready. And this guy came into my life and he was very, very similar to me. And I was like, oh, maybe, maybe he's my twin. Because we had so much in common. We had so fucking much in common. I remember saying to my friend, he was from the same town as my ex. So I said to my friend, it's so weird. We have so much in common. It feels like I'm being set up. I thought my ex was setting me up or something. And she said, it could be the universe testing you. Which made so much sense. I saw red flags from day one. I saw toxicity from day one. He triggered me. He made me so angry. Oh, but I wouldn't listen to the red flags. But after 2 months, the red flags became sirens. And I finally realized that this was a false karmic relationship. As I said, as we go through these relationships, my first one lasted almost 8 years. It took me almost 8 years to learn the lessons that I needed to learn in that relationship. So therefore, we have to go through this. And it's unfortunate because these relationships are so abusive and so toxic. They make you lose all sense of self-worth. They make you lose all sense of who you are, all ambition. And like I've described that in narcissistic relationships, and narcissistic relationships do the same thing. Their karmic relationships are here for your soul's growth. And I believe that most twin flames will go through karmic relationships, one or more, whether it be with friends, family, co-workers, bosses, or romantic. They go through these karmic relationships for the purpose of growing and learning to prepare themselves for divine love. And we have to go through those lessons to prepare us for that. Like you might have met your twin flame years ago, but you both might have ended up in different relationships because you had to learn. And at the time, you were not ready to become united. And that's the thing, like, if you think that you've met your twin flame and they're in a relationship right now, that is probably a karmic relationship, and that will last as long as it needs to last for them to learn those lessons. So you can't, and that's the thing about us questioning karmic relationships or punishing ourselves for them. There isn't a mistake in having a karmic relationship. It was preordained. You set this up. Your soul set this up before you incarnated here. And that's the thing. They're important. They're important for the lessons to learn. If we didn't have them, we wouldn't grow. We wouldn't learn our lessons, and we wouldn't prepare ourselves to be capable of receiving divine love. And oftentimes in karmic relationships, there will be children involved as well. And that's the thing, like, this is all a part of your growth and your lessons. So if you've had kids with a karmic partner, it doesn't mean that they were, they weren't supposed to be. Just because that isn't your forever partner doesn't mean that child isn't still a miracle and wasn't supposed to exist because of your growth as well. So all of it it's important. Even no matter how toxic these relationships are, they're here to help you learn and grow. They're here to make you realize what you don't want in love, what you realize, and that's the part of it. Like, you have to finally learn enough, put up with it for so fucking long, that you finally say to yourself, no, this is not right. This is not what I want. This is not what I deserve. And like for my last one, which only lasted 2 months, like before that I'd learned about twin flames, I started to discover that true love can be had, and that true love does exist, and the fairy tale does exist. So, I was looking forward to that. And to get into another toxic pattern was just like, oh my God, what is going on? And like, when I decided to end that, like, I was like, this is so familiar. Why is it so familiar? And then I realized, because I was after doing research on narcissism and narcissistic relationships, I was like, oh my God, I did it again. I attracted the same shit again. that's when I realized it was my core wounds that I needed to heal to attract in the higher vibrational love. And that's what I did. I made the decision when I broke up with that person. I said, I don't care how long it takes or how long I have to stay single and how long I have to heal. I am waiting for my twin flame. I am waiting for my divine counterpart. I'm waiting for that true love. And you know what? When I sent that vibration out to the universe, less than a month after I ended that last karmic relationship, the universe allowed me to recognize my twin flame. And I'd known my twin flame for a few years before that. And, you know, I wasn't allowed to recognize him until I was ready. But when I finally made the decision that I would no longer put up with toxicity, that I would no longer put up with abuse, that I had learned my lessons from that, and that I knew I had to heal what was within me to prevent myself from attracting that kind of relationship again, less than a month later, I was allowed to recognize my twin flame. And I've been on the twin flame journey ever since. Well, I was on the twin flame journey before that, but more intensely now. And after recognizing my twin flame, I've grown, I've healed so many things and overcome so many past traumas and grown into such a better version of myself. And that's the thing with soulmates or twin flames. They help you to become the best version of yourself. They help you to understand what love is. Whereas karmic relationships are toxic. And a lot of the times with karmic relationships, they will go from being, as I said, really, really, really passionate, really intense, to almost arguments all the time. And there is a pattern of breaking up and getting back together, breaking up, getting back together. This happens a lot with karmic relationships because of the trauma bond that you attach to through intimacy. It is hard to break that trauma bond unless you actually stop sleeping with that person. And that's the thing, like, you know, towards the end of my longer karmic relationships, because towards the end we stopped sleeping together, I was able to break that trauma bond. But then actually towards the end of the second one, I reconnected that. It's another long story. You know, so when you actually sleep with that person, that karmic, you connect with a trauma bond that will actually make you feel more attached to that person than you actually are. So the secret there is, if you're going through toxicity and the highs and lows of a karmic relationship, don't go sleeping with them on the good days, because that will just make you feel attached to them again. And that will just make you think, oh, maybe I do love them. Oh, maybe we are okay. This is a toxic addiction. It's a toxic, unhealthy attachment that you need to sever before you can actually break out of that karmic relationship and start to see those red flags and that toxicity and abuse for what it is. And when you actually make that decision that you deserve better and that you've learned from that shit, that you do not deserve that toxicity, when you make that decision that you want better for yourself, that you want to pursue and find true love, that is when that relationship will end. That is when that relationship will finally end. And that you will actually be able to fully start to pursue your own healing and growth because of the lessons you've learned through that relationship. So don't regret a karmic relationship. It was all part of your soul's growth. It was all predetermined to happen so that you could learn and grow to prepare yourself for the divine love and divine union that is ahead of you. And more often than not, a karmic relationship will come before your twin flame relationship. And sometimes it's called a false twin or a fake or false twin relationship, or a catalyst for growth. But it is all there. It is beneficial for you to learn and grow through that. But just understand the difference. Understand that you don't have to put up with abuse. You don't have to put up with that toxicity. It is there to help you grow and learn that that is not what you deserve. It is a part of your soul's growth, but try not to keep going back, because it is hard to leave those kind of situations because of that toxic addiction. It's a codependency. It's kind of this obsession you have. Like, it was described there, and I remember myself, you feel like, you can't live without that person, but that's a toxic obsession. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, you know, it's like you can't live without them. Whereas you have to be able to live individually. You have to feel safe on your own. And that's the thing, what I remember with my toxic relationships and my karmic relationships, it was like when I was away from them, I felt fearful. But actually, my main reason for feeling fearful was I was afraid that they think I was doing something wrong. Because anytime I was away from them, I was afraid they'd get jealous that I was talking to another person, another man. Because they would always accuse me of stuff. Do you know, and always belittle me. And like, that's why actually, now, yeah, that's actually just coming to me. The reason I used to feel so, I need to be with this person all the time, is so that I wouldn't be accused of talking to somebody else or fucking flirting with somebody or something. Do you know what I mean? So that's the toxicity. It's a fear of being away from them for fear of being accused of something more than anything. Not fear of actually being, being away from them. So you recognize these things, recognize these red flags, recognize this toxic behavior. If your relationship has gone from highly intense and highly passionate to a circle of constant arguments that are the same argument over and over again, and no change and no growth is getting achieved by this relationship, and it is just spiraling downhill. If you have been isolated from friends and family, if you're stuck in your life that you feel like you can't move forward or can't reach your dreams because this person is holding you down. Like in my 8-year karmic relationship, he prevented me from working. He prevented me from being from feeling good by achieving anything so that he could keep me stuck. And in my second karmic relationship, he stopped working, took every bit of money I had, took every bit of money his mother had, got me into debt. I was working hard fucking every fucking day, and I had no money to show for it because I was paying for his weed. That's what I was doing. And then he was getting money off his mother to pay for fucking weed as well. Do you know what I mean? This is what happened. They sucked the whole life out of you. They just take everything from you. So you're like, even if you are working, they're taking everything from you. So you feel depleted. You lose energy. They suck every bit of life out of you. They suck your life force energy out of you. So if your relationship went from good to you spending time with them now and they're really draining your energy, and every time you see them, it makes you feel shitty and it makes you feel worse. Do you know what I mean? And as I said, they isolate you from friends and family, so you don't even have anyone to talk to. And I remember, not seeing my friends for ages in both those relationships, like pure toxicity. This is the red flags that you need to be aware of. Because they don't want you to confer with your friends. They don't want you to ask your friends for advice so that your friends can't tell you the truth about what's going on. They don't want you to see how toxic they are. So they will stop you from talking to people so that you won't see who they really are. You have to, be aware of this. Open your eyes. Are you in a toxic relationship? Are you in a karmic relationship? If there's more arguments than there are good days, if it is spiraling downhill, if they are manipulative, if they are abusive, if you feel drained every time you're with them, this is a karmic, toxic, narcissistic relationship. It's probably one of the hardest relationships you'll ever have to walk away from. But when you do, you will start to get yourself back. You'll start to get your life force back, your energy back. You'll start to feel love again. So, and if you think your twin flame is in a karmic relationship and, you can't put your energy to that, understand that they have lessons to learn and it will last as long as they need to learn those lessons. Send them love, but do your healing. When you do your healing, your twin flame will grow as well because your healing is their healing. So understand that as well. The way to heal your twin or help your twin is by healing yourself. And the more you grow, the more they will get the strength to grow as well and learn their lessons quicker. So bring that attention within because you are your twin flame. They're the other half of your soul. So you heal you're effectively healing them as well. So understand that as well. So don't be worried if they're in a relationship or in 3D that it looks like that it mightn't happen for you. It will happen when you both have your lessons learned. And I learned, as I said, the minute I broke that pattern, I was allowed to recognize my twin flame. So that's the thing. So the minute you realize and say to the universe and yourself, I do not want to put up with this toxic behavior anymore. I want better. The universe will vibrate that in for you. So understand the patterns of that relationship. Are you happy? Is this relationship fulfilling? Is it toxic? Or is it constant arguments and constant abuse? Because if it is, get out. It is time that you've finished learning those lessons, and it's time to move on. Because when you do, that's when your growth happens. When you actually walk away from them, that's when the true growth and the true healing can happen. So thank you so much for listening today, and I hope this helps. If it resonates, please like and share. And if you need help on your journey, please book me for a discovery call today, and I would love nothing more than to help you on your path. Thank you. Bye.